Hello and welcome to the Late Night Edition with me, Ayushman Singh Jamwala. Top story: tensions in West Asia are rapidly escalating, where Israel has launched a fresh round of attacks on Iran and struck a key Iranian nuclear site on Thursday. And in response, Iranian missiles hit an Israeli hospital in Tel Aviv. Israeli military has also been instructed to intensify strikes on strategic targets in Tehran. Now, a week of Israeli airstrikes as well as military action across Iran has wiped out the top rungs of the Iranian military command, damaged its nuclear capabilities and killed hundreds of people inside Iran, primarily Tehran as well as western Iran. Meanwhile, Iranian retaliatory strikes have killed at least 24 civilians in Israel. Reports suggest the United States is preparing for strikes on Iran as US President Donald Trump keeps the world guessing about whether the United States will join Israel in the airstrikes. Listen in to what Trump had to say.
They should have made the deal. I had a great deal for them. They should have made that deal. 60 days we talked about it, and in the end they decided not to do it, and now they wish they did it. And they want to meet, but it's a little late to meet, but they want to meet, and they want to come to the White House. They'll even come to the White House, so we'll see. I may do that. I have ideas as to what to do, but I haven't made a final. I like to make the final decision 1 second before it's due, because things change. I mean, especially with war. Things change with war. It can go from one extreme to the other.
So let's take you through the latest visuals that are coming in from the war zone as the situation in West Asia continues to escalate. This is an Iranian missile that has hit an Israeli hospital. This was in Tel Aviv, ladies and gentlemen, and you can see the plumes of smoke and the damage that has been caused in the wake of this attack on this particular hospital. So Israeli medical services have been severely hit by the counter-strikes coming in from Iran, as Iran channels most of its retaliatory strikes on the medical infrastructure and the civilian areas in cities like Tel Aviv. Let's move on to more visuals coming in from the war zone. Israel, meanwhile, has only retaliated more strongly to any counterstrike coming in from Iran. This is smoke billowing from the police headquarters inside Tehran, and several military as well as police headquarters have been targeted across western Iran, primarily to cripple the security infrastructure inside Tehran as well as the wider Iranian nation. Now, meanwhile, Iran has also continued its counterstrikes, but the IDF also, remember, has the technological edge over Iran when it comes to missile arsenals. IDF has targeted Iran's missile launchers. Ladies and gentlemen, in this case, you can see these are satellite images of these IDF strikes which have come in via drones as well as missile launch pads inside Iran and along the coast of Israel as well. Now, these missile launchers inside Iran are one of the key bases which are being used by the Iranian regime to flatten several civilian areas inside Israel. Remember, over a dozen people have died in Israel. But Israel, given the fact that it has the technological edge over Tehran, has used its superior technology to target these military bases inside Tehran, primarily these missile launchers. As you can see, the satellite images, the precision strikes which are taking place from the IDF is causing this damage. But this is the situation inside Tehran. Remember, the pitch to flee and evacuate Tehran has also come in from US President Donald Trump. The question is, when will he join the war, or will he join the war? He's keeping the whole world guessing. But look at the stream of people just exiting Tehran, trying to get to safer locations. The roads are choked with vehicles as people try every route possible to exit the Iranian capital, which it continues to face a lot of hammering from the IDF, as Israel has vowed to decapitate the entire military infrastructure inside Iran. The top command of the Iranian military has been taken out, but at the same time, the military assets and the nuclear sites, that is the main focus of Israel, because Israel has made it very clear, a nuclear Iran is not good for the entire world. That is the pitch that's coming in from Israel. But talking about the nuclear facilities of Iran, talking about its nuclear capabilities. Now, there is a particular base inside Iran called Iran's nuclear Mount Doom. It's called the Fordo Air Base, which is on the America's target list when it comes to taking out a nuclear Iran. Remember, the United States has made it extremely clear that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. Now, this particular site, which is the Fordo site, is called Iran's Mount Doom. Around 262 to 295 feet below ground is where this entire base is located. Now, as per reports as well, several intelligence sources, having this base underground Fordo is where Iran has the capability to form a weapon, to form a nuclear weapon. It's about 100 kilometers away from the capital of Tehran, and the entire region is mountainous, so it's hidden not just from the public but from any reprisal coming in from Israel. But Israel, with its intelligence infrastructure, has narrowed down on the location of this entire base, as well as the US intelligence community knows about this base. So precision strikes is possible in the wake of the escalating war that is taking place in West Asia. But Iran is trying to be confident about the fact that this area, given the fact that it's mountainous, is safe from any aerial bomb threat. That is the hope coming in from Iran. And it's not easy to penetrate this nuclear base because it has several layers of concrete above it, below the mountain area. But clearly, Israel, as well as the United States, as and when it decides to enter the war, has this particular site on its target list when it comes to dismantling the nuclear capabilities of Iran. To assess this entire situation further, I'm joined by Adam Scott Bellows, founder of the Israel Innovation Fund. Thank you, Adam, for joining us on the broadcast when it comes to the escalating tensions between Israel and Iran. First of all, our wishes to your family and your loved ones, as well as to your community that is battling this entire conflict inside West Asia, primarily with Tehran and the entire terror infrastructure that Tehran promotes all over the world. What can you tell us about the last few days as the fight is only escalating and Israel is also bearing the brunt of Iranian counterstrikes?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. I can tell you that the amount of information that you're seeing on social media, or really the disinformation about saying that Tel Aviv has been brought to its knees, I think is very interesting, because that's the exact opposite of what's going on in Tel Aviv. While there have been some direct hits, life continues to go on. Cafes are open. I think the hardest thing that is very misunderstood about the situation in Israel since October 7th is how hard of an economic hit many of the average Israeli families have taken. So many people having to shut their businesses down right now, and for most of life or normal life to cease at this moment, given the situation, has been rather difficult. But at that same time, Israelis do see the necessity of our strike on Iran, given the existential threat that they pose. And not only that, the success ratio of our strikes and our operations compared to the 10% of rockets and intercontinental ballistic missiles that are not being intercepted by the Iron Dome or the Arrow system. So we do see kind of the failure of Iran to really make a major dent in Israel. Obviously, they have hit a few places. Like earlier today, they hit the hospital in Beersheba. At the same time, that hospital had already been evacuated. So there is a clear differentiation between where we're hitting and where they're hitting, as we are trying to hit military targets, whereas they are clearly only aiming for civilian infrastructure.
Right. And Adam, what is the end game exactly? Because in the wake of October 7th, of course, Israel, not just Benjamin Netanyahu, but every political party inside Israel had this united front that the terror infrastructure emanating not just from Gaza, but even from Iran has to be eliminated. That is a clear security threat. And everyone here in India as well is in solidarity with Israel to target any terrorism that emanates from Iran, given the fact that we also conducted Operation Sindoor against Pakistan to take out their terror infrastructure. But Netanyahu has been talking about a nuclear Iran, and several Israeli leaders have been talking about the same. But there is that counter statement that is coming in from certain sections of the intelligence community that Iran is nowhere close to developing a nuclear weapon, which is why Israel is facing the criticism that this is naked aggression. How do you react to that?
I mean, I think if you take leaders for what they say, Iran has been threatening Israel for many, many decades. And not only that, there is proof linking their funding and their infrastructure in helping not only Hamas commit the crimes against humanity that were committed on October 7th, but also the arming of Hezbollah. Anybody that says anybody that wants to criticize Israel at this time for the actions that are that my country has taken clearly just very much likes dead Jews and is okay with